Welcome back to another episode of Called to Chaos.
Hey guys,
How was your week?
it was pretty good. We kind of felt like it was a little bit of a shorter week.
I mean, it was. This is the second week in a row. We only had 3 days.
Yeah, because we went up to Oklahoma to watch our boss do a great.
I hate it when you call him our boss.
I know
Leader.
leader. Apparently, is our boss.
I mean,
I feel like he's like more than just our boss because he's so great.
right.
Anyways, our leader,
Our campus pastor's fine too.
our campus pastor, yeah, our campus pastor crushed his story on stage, the big stage, at what we call all staff, where all of our staff is either remote or in person. We went in person to support him. And so that was really cool.
Yeah.
It
So
was
we only
so
had
cool.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
which was the second week in a row because last week we only had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but because we had a team day.
Okay.
So
Lots of fun stuff.
2 weeks. What was your most chaotic moment?
I think I'm in a season right now to where we call them associates. She is amazing and she does a lot for our ministry. But she's getting married, which is super exciting, and I love that for her.
Mm.
I adore her. But she's leaving. This is like her last weekend. And so it's just my mind's more chaotic than the outside of my body. Just thinking, okay, like now I'm going to take on these other things. And then I have an intern coming in. So what will I give her? I got to make sure she's teaching everything. It's just a lot of mental game,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that feels chaotic to me.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
yeah. What about you?
I think the shorter week and having a lot to do, we're starting a push for serving in the
Yeah.
church. And that's something that I agreed to own. And so I was trying to figure out all of that in a short amount of time with my partner being on the project, being
Yeah.
off on vacation this week, and then traveling out of town. And Daxton starts having an asthma flare up,
I know.
which I'm normally a pretty chill parent. But you guys heard me talk about the breathing stuff with him when he
Mhm.
was a baby. And ever since then, I kind of freak out
Yeah.
anytime.
Has to be
It's
expected.
crazy. And so Gary's texting me on Wednesday night about where's this, where's that? He needs this. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, why is this happening right now? And that just was too much for my brain. I didn't sleep super well at the hotel. And I don't know that that was why, but could have been.
Yeah, for sure.
And so now that I'm back and he's still kind of, it's not bad. It's definitely not as bad as it's been before, but he's trying to play baseball this
Yeah.
weekend and he's at school today. And I'm just, this is too much. It's all allergy induced for this poor kid. And he loves to be outside just like me.
Yeah.
And so it's been really difficult to try to remind him, like, just stay inside as much as you can when you can.
Yeah.
Take your allergy medicine, use your inhaler, use your breathing treatments. But what happens with him is when he gets into one of these flare ups and it's not under control, it can get really bad.
Yeah.
And then you got to do the steroids and all the
Right.
things.
Right.
So I'm hoping that we're not getting behind a bit. And I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Good news is their coach told them to stay inside. They're
Yeah.
like, don't go outside and play on Saturday.
Yeah.
We want all your energy to go to this game
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon.
Well, he was just lounging in the hammock
Yeah, that's
for
good.
like an hour last night.
Yeah.
And Gary said, he's just chilling in the hammock. I said, well, you should probably tell him to come inside and get out of the pollen.
Yeah, you're like all worried now.
And he goes, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
So,
keep that boy in, you know?
yeah,
It's exciting. It'll be a great weekend. Super fun.
I hope so.
Yeah. So today we are going to talk about Helen's story with her husband and just kind of their journey. I think it's going to be really eye-opening and impactful. She talked about a little bit last week. And so this week we're going to just really unpack it and get down to what happened, how God showed up in that. And I'm really excited about it. So buckle up, you guys. And we're going to get started talking about Helen and Gary's story.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So I'm going to have a little of my notes out here. Just I want to ask some questions. So Helen, maybe people see you guys as probably assume that you're healthy and you're solid. Like it's always just been like that.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at you and Gary and the kids out, but it hasn't been.
Mm-mm.
It has not been. And so just start off with like, how did you guys meet? What did that feel like and look like from the very beginning?
Okay. So we met in 2006 on spring break
Mhm.
in South Padre Island. I had traveled down there with a friend, just the two of us, and he was there with a bunch of friends from college. He was playing football at Arkansas State at the time, and we just happened to meet. I knew right away that I wanted to know that man, and I made it a point to make sure that that happened. Then we just proceeded to have a long distance relationship.
Yeah.
I think I was 20 at the time and he was 22. And so we were very, very young. And we just decided, okay, we're going to keep communicating via text messages and long distance, which we did. And it went great. I mean, we had only spent maybe a day together there in South Padre before everything went long distance.
Yeah.
He was from this area. Well, his family had lived in this area. He wasn't from this area at the time. So he was playing college in Arkansas, but he was coming back to visit multiple times,
Yeah.
like every month,
Okay.
essentially. And so when he came back to visit, every single time we were hanging out and
Right.
spending time together. Now, I have to admit that during this time, even though I've always been a believer, I always knew Jesus and believed in Jesus, and I was definitely more like lukewarm
Mhm.
for sure. It was, I love the Lord and I'm praying when I need to. And I wasn't attending church regularly at the time. Definitely wasn't living a life for Jesus at this time. I mean, I was 20,
You were young.
I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I was living my best life as I thought I was,
Right. Right.
moving away from home and all of that. So, yeah.
Yeah. What were like your first impressions of each other?
He says it was love at first sight. I don't believe that. But I knew and I just saw him a day before I even actually met him, and I knew in the moment, like, this guy is he's gonna be mine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's something I want to get to know.
Yeah. And so I think my first impression of him was just even though he was the opposite of, I would say, my type,
Yeah.
because he had dreadlocks at the time,
Yes. Yes.
I still was like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta know that man. I
Yeah.
have to."
And this
But
was what year?
2006.
2006. Okay. And then did you ever picture yourself like just getting married so young?
No.
Yeah.
I
I
don't think I
figured.
even pictured myself marrying him.
Yeah.
I was so young that I just thought that,
Man, he's
this
really
was just
hot. Like I
yeah,
need to
this
get to
is
know
another
him.
guy. And so when we decided to get married, because that's what it was like just a decision,
Yeah.
right? He had like randomly said to me, "I want you to be my wife."
Yeah.
And I shared that little tidbit with my sister, and she took it away.
Now was this when y'all were still long distance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
You're like, oh,
Uh-huh.
okay.
Still long distance. So it was probably maybe 5 to 6 months into knowing each other is when
Okay.
he said that to me. And so I told my sister that he said that, and she said, "All right, well, let's plan a wedding."
Oh, dang.
And so that's what happened. We met on March 21st, 2006. We were married March 3rd, 2007.
So that was pretty quick.
Very quick,
Yeah.
especially considering we were long distance until from March 2006 to December 2006.
Yeah. That's really quick. So how was like your relationship dynamic then?
Long distance, it was the typical what you would expect long
Right.
distance. Visiting anytime we could. We were both driving back and forth. I'd go watch his games whenever I could. He'd come back and visit whenever he could. And I mean, talking on the phone at
Yeah.
every minute. Texting wasn't as big back then. You still had
Right.
T9.
Yes. Each letter. Oh
Literally.
my gosh, took a year to do anything.
Yes. And so we talked on the phone all the time and we just got to know each other long distance,
Yeah.
really.
So being that young, if you like went back, looking back, what do you think that you guys, as being so young, really just didn't understand about marriage yet?
Well, I think I understood about marriage only what I saw, which was a great marriage between my
Hmm.
parents.
Yeah.
My dad worshipped the ground my mom walked on I mean, that's being dramatic, but he cared for my mom so well. He spoiled her. He took care of his family and they just had an amazing marriage. And so I wanted that.
Hmm.
On the flip side, Gary wasn't raised by two parents in the home. His mom
Yeah.
was a single mom. His dad really wasn't a part of his life. So I don't think he even knew what marriage was supposed to look like.
Yeah. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
We learn what we see.
Hmm.
So so you got pregnant at Casey pretty quick.
But yeah, we were married March 3rd, 2007, and we were pregnant in May. I got pregnant 2 months later.
Wow. So how did that feel being parents like so early in your marriage?
Well, so not a lot of people know this, and I don't talk about it publicly. I don't tell people anything about it because it's not relevant.
Right.
But he already had a daughter
Yeah.
going into our relationship. So our oldest, Tiana, she was 4 when I first met him. And so he brought her into our relationship. So we were parenting her
Yeah.
essentially when we got married. At that point, we didn't have full custody of her just yet. So when we got pregnant with Kason, I was not prepared. Excited, sure, because
Sure.
that's something you get married and have a baby. But it happened really, really fast. And we were still like young and living our best lives and
Yeah.
going out with friends and
Yeah.
doing all these things. And next thing I know, I'm pregnant and it just fast forwarded everything. So it was very, I would say, difficult,
Yeah.
I think, at the very beginning for
Yeah.
sure.
So you got married, got pregnant. Basically, were you just like, okay, we gotta survive now. Like, we gotta figure this out.
Well, since we were long distance for most of our relationship, he moved home in December and we were married in March. So we had very little time to like actually get to know everything about each other. And then you add in a pregnancy where I'm so sick and
Yeah.
so tired all the time. And I just wanted to be taken care of. You just need to take care of me. I'm carrying your child.
Right.
Spoil me. And
Yes.
so I think he did a really good job at the very beginning of that for sure. And he was just fresh out of college trying to figure out what that looked like, finding a career, and that was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
You gotta grow up really fast. Y'all both did, really.
Yes,
Really, really
100%.
fast. Even though he already had a daughter,
Mhm.
I think that you jumping in as a mom for her also, like, you just had to grow up really
We
fast
did.
and didn't get a lot of time to get to know each other
Mm-mm.
just as you 2,
Nope.
which can be really, really difficult because I feel like no matter what people think, it's always so different when you're living with somebody.
Mhm. It
Like,
is.
they're not the same people.
Nope.
Um,
Neither one of us. I'm
yeah,
sure
exactly.
he learned things about me.
100%.
I learned things about him. It was a good time. I do think I will say, even though that was very quick and all of that, I do know that our love grew for each other very quickly. It wasn't a thought of ever at the beginning,
Yeah.
we made a mistake doing this.
Yeah.
It was,
Okay,
this is great. Like, yeah, we're young, but at the time we didn't think anything of that.
right.
We were just happy to be together.
Mhm.
Now we're having a baby together. That part seemed a little bit quick, but we were very excited for the life that we were being blessed to be able to live.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we never looked back and thought, this happened too fast. We shouldn't have
Right.
done this. That was
Right.
never a thought at that time.
So you're married. Pregnancy itself is difficult, right? You're like not really yourself.
Right.
And so what do those early days actually kind of look like behind the scenes for you guys?
Oof. He was working really long hours for Schwann's,
Mhm.
if you guys remember that,
Yep.
not making much money at all. And I was still a nanny at the time. I was
Yeah.
still nannying full time for a family. And so we didn't get to spend a lot of time together. He would get home really late at night. I would be home, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. He'd get home 8, 9,
Mhm.
go to sleep, wake up, do it all over again. And
Yeah.
so we didn't have a lot of time together at that time. We didn't get full custody of our oldest until she was 6.
Okay.
And so technically I was still pregnant with Kason when that
Yeah.
happened, but that was late in the pregnancy, very late.
Yeah.
And so it was just having her on the weekends. He would spend most of his time on the weekend with her, taking her to swim at the pool or whatever. And I'm just sleeping because I'm pregnant.
Yeah. Literally.
So
Yeah.
we didn't have a lot of time with each other.
Yeah. That's gonna be so hard. So, so hard. So what were the signs that you guys like when you just really started struggling? What were those signs that like this is like what's going on here? Like when things are starting to kind of fall apart a
Well,
little
at the
bit.
very beginning, I think we were fine until, let me rewind. So once Kason was born and he got to be a little bit older, it became clear like we needed something more. I wanted to start going to church as a family. We had to find a church. And so that's what we did. We just Googled non-denominational churches in our
Yeah.
area.
Yeah. Which
And that,
so many people do.
right. And it just so happened at the time we were actually living with my parents.
Okay.
At the end of my pregnancy, I was high risk with Kason, and we were living on a third story apartment, and he
Yeah.
was gone all the time.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't be alone. And so we moved in with my parents so that I had someone to care for me while he was working.
Mhm.
And when I made that Google search, the first church to pop up happened to be a Church of Christ, which was literally
Yeah.
less than a mile from where we live.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's try it.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And so things actually were really good. Once
Yeah.
we got involved in the church, I started serving very quickly in like the women's and children's ministries and special events. And he was doing the men's ministry. And we were growing in our faith, growing in our marriage, growing as parents. Our kids were learning what it was like to have a life with Jesus. And so things were going really, really well for a very long time. And then I would say in 2011, we were living in a different house at this point
Mhm.
and had gotten pregnant, experienced a miscarriage. It was
Mhm.
a twin pregnancy. And at this point, we were attending a different Church of Christ, but we were still there. And so that's where I would say I think that things maybe started
Sure.
to get a little wonky in our marriage, mostly because I mean, you experience the hormones
Yeah.
of pregnancy, whether you carry full term or not.
Absolutely. And you already had a child, really 2 children at
Yes.
this point,
Yes,
and
because
you're so young
we had
still.
full custody. Ty was living with us.
Right.
She didn't really have a relationship at all with her biological mother, and so we were parenting full-time 2 children,
Mhm.
and I got pregnant, miscarried unexpectedly, did find out some reasons behind that,
Mhm.
but then it was just like survival mode of, "No, now I really want another baby. This is
Mhm.
what I really, really want," and so
Right.
you add the stress of trying to navigate that, and it just I don't know that our it helped our relationship at all.
Sure. Yeah. So you had a loss, um, experienced pregnancy loss. How did that affect you individually and then as a couple?
I don't think it affected him at all,
Okay.
which is what affected me,
That makes sense. Yeah.
because I don't know that he ever was, "Let's have more kids." Like,
Right. How
that
just
was
happened.
like, he was more just like, we had Ty, we had Case, and he was fine,
Yeah.
but I was the one that wanted
Absolutely.
more, right? And so, I don't think it affected him at all, and it devastated me,
Yeah.
and I don't know that he knew how to care for me
Yeah.
in that grief.
Yeah.
And so we were still attending church and we had our church community, but it was not an easy season. And so I don't think I noticed it at the time that there was like a distance being formed between us there.
Right. And I think that's so good to stop there just a little bit because I think that if you've ever experienced that kind of loss and your husband is not at the same level of you emotionally with that loss, that it's not necessarily that he doesn't love you or doesn't love that baby. I mean, it's just such a different
Yeah.
emotion
Hmm.
for women versus men.
Hmm.
And they can't control that by any means. And so I think sometimes people can think that, well, you just like have a heart of stone. Like you don't get it. You're not, why are you not so sad? When really it's just, they really can't comprehend it. I don't think.
Well, they didn't have that natural
Exactly.
biological connection the
Yeah.
same way.
Right.
The moment a woman sees that positive pregnancy test, you
Yeah. You're
feel
locked
it.
in.
You
Right.
just feel it. Whether the baby is microscopic or not, you just feel a
Right.
connection. And
Exactly.
so he didn't get to have that.
Yeah. It's so different.
Yeah.
It's so different. What do you think that you needed back then that neither of you knew or asked for?
Whew, that's loaded. I would
I
say
know.
I think I probably just needed to be seen. I From childhood, I just have always navigated life, which this probably comes out now of I've just got to be strong and push through whatever I'm experiencing. Because that's just what I've always done. I don't
Mhm.
know. There's no because. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be validated probably in feeling what I was feeling. And I didn't get that.
Mhm.
And it was just this, okay, the next best thing to do is just, let's try again,
Yeah.
pushing through, try
Sure.
again. And so that's what we did.
Yeah.
And it was, everything's on a schedule. Here's when I'm ovulating. Let's try again. This is what the doctor's suggesting, ovulation tests, all these things. And it was exhausting.
It is exhausting. I mean, I didn't have a miscarriage, but do remember that.
Hmm.
Like, okay, let's take the test. Okay, now let's go.
Yep.
And it makes it number one, not fun at all.
Right.
Number two, it's just like so stressful.
Hmm.
So Yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
So let's kind of fast forward a little bit. 2014 kind of changed everything.
I think 2014 changed everything, but 2000 so when we finally did get pregnant again after the miscarriage,
Mhm.
we had already I had decided, I'm done. I'm not trying anymore.
Yeah.
I'm over it. This is too much work, too much whatever. And so we were both kind of disengaged, I would say,
Sure.
with our relationship with
Yeah.
Jesus. We were still attending church. We were
Right.
still hanging out with our friends and a part of that community, but there was probably a little anger with God
Sure. Yeah.
through that season. And so when I finally did get pregnant again, I don't want to say it was unexpected because we definitely were trying, but then we paused trying. And then that's when we got, like, literally the same month,
Yeah.
got pregnant. And so that pregnancy was high risk.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And that pregnancy put me on bed rest. So at the time I was working as a medical assistant at a doctor's office. I couldn't parent a lot. I ended up having to take my FMLA through my whole pregnancy, pretty much the whole pregnancy, the second and third trimester. And so that put a lot of strain on our marriage. We weren't able
Yeah.
to spend a lot of time together. And then once the baby was born, she was emergency C-section. And then you go into navigating
Mhm.
all of the joys
Yes.
of a newborn
Yep.
and all of that.
Yeah.
And so that was 2012. And then we kind of got to into this rhythm. I was a stay-at-home mom and we got into a rhythm of raising three kids at this point, but there was also the dynamic of he was working full time, not really making a ton of money.
Yeah.
One income was hard.
Yeah.
And so he's doing everything in his power to just work, 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 work to support us. And I'm lonely.
Yeah. Sure.
I am depressed and don't even know it. And I'm just taking care of kids. Nyla Faith wasn't, I nursed her for almost 2 years. And so it was just, I couldn't wait till he got home to give me a break
Mhm.
and have another adult to talk to. I didn't have friends that I
Yeah.
could go hang out with at that time. And he wanted to come home and just rest and relax. And I'm just, why are you not spending time with me? Why are you not doing this? Why are you
Yeah.
not spending time with the kids? And he was, but
Right.
I was just so depressed
Yeah.
that I was noticing every little wrong thing.
Mhm.
So I was nitpicking every single thing from the time he came home from work until the time he left the next day. It
Yeah.
was just not a good it was not a good season for us.
Right.
And so then you fast forward to 2014 in March. Was it March? No, I'm sorry. It was like May. And we find out we're pregnant again,
Mm.
which we had already decided because I don't stay pregnant easy, because I don't get pregnant easy, we were gonna be okay being done with that
Mhm.
after Nyla Faith. Even though I've always said I'd have as many babies as the Lord wants to bless me with,
Yeah.
it was kind of this mindset of we're probably done.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of gaps because
Yeah.
there was already a big gap between our oldest and Kason and then Kason and Nyla
Okay.
Faith.
Yep.
And so it was just, we're gonna be done.
Yeah. We're good.
My sister said, maybe you're pregnant. And I said, no. So I went to Target, Nyla Faith on my hip. I didn't even get a cart or anything. And I grab a pregnancy test, check out, self check out, walk out, go home and take it. And
You're
it was
like,
like instantly positive, which
dang.
at this point I already knew the problem with my pregnancies and why I was not
Right.
sustaining them. And so then I started panicking like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, now I've got to get on progesterone because I don't want to lose the baby. And I called him at work to tell him. And I don't know if he thought that I was kidding
Yeah.
or if he thought I was playing a prank on him. I don't know. But he was not happy. He said, "Why are you calling me at work with
Oh
this?"
my gosh.
And I was like, "Are you kidding me? You're at work and I'm at home with the kids with this. What are you talking about?"
Exactly.
And I was so mad, so mad. And so because of my high risk situation during my previous
Mhm.
pregnancy and having to get on progesterone and all of that, like the first trimester, I just took very carefully
Yeah.
with him. And then you fast forward to the second trimester and we had went to find out what the baby was going to be.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't find, we were going to do a gender reveal.
Right.
This is where it gets heavy, y'all. We decided we were going to go to one of those only ultrasound places.
Yep.
And get an ultrasound where the sonogram tech was going to just write the gender.
Yeah.
On the picture,
Fill the envelope.
put it in an envelope, and I already had a cake person. I was going to take it to this lady. That's what we did. He came home from work a little bit early so we could do this. And we put it in the envelope, drove over to the cake lady's house, dropped it off, came back home. and put the kids to bed. And then it was probably, I'd say, like later at night. That's back when I was able to stay awake a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And we had a relationship with my brother at the time. And so him and my brother were texting back and forth about, I have no idea what, but they were texting back and forth while we were sitting on the couch watching TV together. And then at some point, he's like, I got to go change the laundry.
Mhm.
So he gets up to go change the laundry, but left his phone sitting right next to me and it went off. And so I'm thinking my brother's texting him back. So I just pick up my phone, his phone to look at it to see what my brother said. And it wasn't my brother. It was someone named Cheyenne. And the message just said, hey. And it was the very first message between the two of them on his, he had an Android at the time.
Yeah.
And so I just pick it up and I take it in the laundry room and I'm like, what's this? Who's Cheyenne? And he said, oh, that's Kingston's mom. Kingston being a baseball player on Kingston's baseball team.
Right.
Gary
He's a coach.
coached the big Kingston's team. And so I said, well, why is she texting you, hey, at 10:45 at night or whatever?
Yeah.
And he said, I have no idea. I was like, well, I'm just going to say hey back and see what the heck she wants.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I said, hey. And then there was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
No response, nothing. So I didn't think anything of it, went to bed, woke up the next day, was talking on the front phone with my best friend at the time who lived out of state. And I'm like, what do you think of this situation?
Right.
We all know Gary.
Right.
He loves me. He's never going to do anything. I can trust him. She said, yeah, for sure. But like, if you have any questions, just look at the phone bill.
Yeah.
And I said, that's a really good idea.
Mm.
So that later that night, we're getting ready. This was Thursday and our gender reveal party was on Saturday. I'm taking my makeup off for the night, whatever, sitting at my vanity. And I said, what's the password to get into AT&T? So he tells me, he said, why? I said, well, I'm just going to see, like, you got the text message last night. I'm just curious if you guys have really been texting. And I literally said it so nonchalantly because I did not believe that it could actually be happening. Like, I literally had no inkling that that was actually what I was going to find.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what I found. Multiple text messages, phone calls between the two of them going back and forth at late hours of the night. So I was in my first trimester of pregnancy, falling asleep with him, not feeling good. Like, literally at that point, we were snuggling at night in bed and I was falling asleep on his chest.
Yeah.
Head on his chest, asleep, pregnant. And bro was texting this girl.
I can't even imagine, like, what emotions you remember feeling the most.
I don't even think that anger was the emotion.
Sure.
I think obviously I was hurt, but I would probably say that the most prominent thing that came to my mind is rejection.
Yeah.
I felt rejected by my own husband.
Yeah.
I wasn't good enough. I mean, adding the emotions of pregnancy and the hormones and all of that. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. He's looking for something else from somebody else. And so it just spiraled so fast. Yeah. This was late at night when I found out.
Which I think those emotions are even worse than feeling hurt. Like, this is your own husband. And so those emotions of feeling rejection are just like amplified so much.
Yeah, it was awful. And I think we both spent the entire night awake. The next day we went and talked to our pastor and he laid out a plan for us for, do we want to work on this? Well, obviously I'm pregnant.
Right.
I don't even have a job. I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like, what option do I have?
Right.
And so we decided we were going to go to marriage counseling and he was going to get accountability guys in his life and we were going to just surround ourselves with community. But this whole time we only told our pastor and then like two couples that were our closer friends in our community. I didn't tell my family. He didn't tell his family. I was trying to protect him. I didn't want anybody to judge him. I kept it to myself.
Yeah.
My best friend knew, obviously, as she didn't live in the state, but I told her.
Yeah.
And we just started the work of figuring it out. He was more than willing to do that. He didn't say that he knew it was the wrong thing to do and he didn't want to be doing it and he had no excuse. He said all the right things, did all the right things. And so we just started navigating how we could find healing.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, they would think that they just assume this is the end of it.
Right.
And that's not exactly what happened.
Nope.
So why? Like, Not only because you're pregnant, but why did you choose to stay? Why did you choose to work on it, both of you?
I think this is a loaded question because at the
There's a lot.
time,
Yeah.
I think the reason I chose to work on it was purely fear.
Sure.
I didn't think that I would ever be able to find anybody else. I mean, I got all these kids. He was about to be number four, and I've got a lot of kids and a lot of baggage. I don't have a job. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm not qualified to do anything worth anything. How could I take care of these kids? How could I pay bills? How could I do any of that? Also, we're followers of Christ, so God doesn't want us to get a divorce. And it was just this big emotion of I don't think that I have any other option. So my decision for working on it was more because I thought that was the only choice that I had. His decision to work on it was because he genuinely wanted to.
Yeah.
He wanted to get better and change. Not that I didn't either, but if I would have had any other option in that knee-jerk reaction, I probably would have been so angry that I just walked out the door.
Yeah. And for your story, it worked out. Like you guys did counseling, things like that. But I think it's also important to look at the women that are also stuck in that spot to where maybe you were, but maybe it's a little bit opposite. Like there may be some abuse in the relationship. There is some narcissism. And they're maybe hearing you say, yeah, I feel exactly like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the circumstances are a little bit different with their spouse.
Right.
So in the opposite of that, like if the spouse was not as caring and loving as Gary and willing to work on it.
Oh,
what would you say to those women?
First of all, willing to work on it meant so much. Let me just be clear, because of our counselor literally gave him the instructions of anything that she needs to feel okay, you've got to be willing to do.
Yeah.
And that meant talking about the affair over and over and over and answering my questions every single because I was one of the people that wanted to know every single detail.
Yeah.
I wanted to know down to the tiniest minute thing, everything that happened.
Yeah.
And that meant that he had to be willing to give that to me.
Yeah.
And he was.
Yeah.
And he was also willing to have those accountability partners that he was meeting with and texting, and our pastor and other people that are followers of Christ, pointing him back to the right thing, to the way of Jesus. And he was 100% willing. There was never any pushback, never any, why is this the way it is? He never started a fight.
Yeah.
Out of that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think we were able to make it work.
Absolutely.
But the people, if you have a counselor that's telling you, here's what you got to do, and you are not with someone who is willing to do that, it'll become very obvious from the beginning. If you're asking questions and they are getting frustrated with you, why do I have to go over this again? You've heard it a million times. They're not willing.
Right. He was willing. He was willing. And the big thing is you're not stuck.
No. There's
so many times I think that women get stuck in these relationships and they maybe have kids or they are pregnant. It's like, well, I can't find anybody else. Nobody's gonna love me. Like nobody, it's a lie from the enemy.
Yeah.
And so what we're trying to portray is that you're not stuck.
Right.
There's always a way to protect yourself, always a way to get out of it if it's a different situation.
If it's a different situation, 100%.
Yes, 100%.
I would 100% say that even though infidelity in the terms of what scripture says is a reason for divorce, that is not always what has to happen.
Exactly.
Right. I do think society tells us that's the truth. But if you guys are both followers of Christ and willing to put in the work, it can be fixed, because at that time, that was what happened for us. We got to a really good place. It probably took about a year of really hard work, but we did get to a really good place.
Yeah. So do you feel like forgiveness was immediate, or is it more of a complicated, like it took some time for sure?
Forgiveness was immediate, and that's only because of the Lord.
Yeah.
But I didn't forget.
Yeah.
My mind didn't forget. My body didn't forget. There were a lot of trauma responses that continued to happen with, his phone and passwords and all these things. Again, he was 100% willing to do anything. So that meant I had the password for everything.
Yeah.
And yes, I did have to check for my own sake.
Sure. Yeah.
every single thing.
That's okay.
And he was okay with it.
Yeah.
Because he knew at that time that he was 100% bought in. He wasn't doing anything wrong and he had nothing to hide.
Right.
And so it was accountability for the both of us.
Yeah.
At that point, I think.
So you truly felt like, you genuinely feel like that your marriage became healthy again.
100%.
Yeah. Which I love. It's so great.
I think I always joked at the time that Daxton was like what saved our marriage.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that if I would have not been pregnant, would I have been felt like I could have made a different decision?
Right.
Would I have just rashly made a different decision?
Yeah.
And so even though that pregnancy was one of the most difficult pregnancies
Yeah.
I had as far as emotionally not
Mhm.
feeling connected to him as my baby, but once he came along, it was very clear that he was meant to be a part of our family.
Yeah. Which is so cool. It's like the Lord knew,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, he knows all of our steps, all of our going and coming and all those different things. So I love that. Then the story took another turn that people probably wouldn't expect. At what point did your own hurt start? I know you probably had some bitterness, probably had some like, oh, like, why did this happen?
Mm-hmm. Well, they call them triggers.
Yes, absolutely.
So, which is what we learned in counseling.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we were in a really good place, triggers didn't disappear.
Yeah.
And even though for a couple of years, there weren't many things that triggered me.
Yeah.
But you fast forward to 2018.
Yep.
And there was a trigger. So Gary had started a strength and conditioning company thing on the side from his normal job because I was still a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And so he was just trying to make a little extra money, training athletes. And he was a college athlete, so he had a lot of experience. And he didn't have social media or anything at the time that he did, but then he didn't. It was complicated.
Yeah.
And at one point he was trying to get me to upload a bunch of stuff and spend a lot of my time doing all of his stuff for this company.
Yeah.
And I just said, I don't want to, like, I'm busy or whatever. And there was this one night where he just asked, or not even asked, was like, this is why I need my own account.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a trigger for me.
Yeah.
It just felt like, oh, you don't care enough about all the work that we've put in. Now you want to get back on social media and risk this.
What was already done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just, okay, do it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. And I had him do it. And I didn't tell him at the time. I acted like I was fine, but it triggered me in such a way that I mentally checked out.
Yeah.
I just I'm not here anymore.
Yeah.
We're roommates at this point, and that's where my brain went. And this is where I think that the enemy is very sneaky because we were doing so good. And that one small thing created this feeling in me that I wasn't willing to communicate to him or anyone. Yeah. And that's where it all started going downhill because I was checked out and I never got rid of social media. And so I had social media and then I get an ex-boyfriend who messages me.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I'm thinking, oh, here's my revenge.
Yeah.
Here's exactly how I can make him feel how I felt 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And who cares? Because he doesn't.
Right. And it was going to be some validation.
It felt like that in the moment.
Yes. Yes.
And I definitely didn't have anyone I could talk to about it.
Yeah.
Besides one friend at the time. And not that she was definitely not someone who was like, you should do this.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But she understood where I was coming from.
Right.
And she just listened to me and I would talk to her about it. And so because I was only talking to one person who didn't even live here, who didn't know every single detail, just my side.
Right.
I was getting the validation I needed of why this was okay.
Yeah.
And so I was carrying on my own affair for a few months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, here we go. I'm paying him back. And he had no idea.
Yeah. So when did he find out about it?
So I'd say that's starting in June. That's when I got the message from him. And he found out Labor Day weekend. So that's what, August, September, the end of August, September, a couple months. So it was just a couple months. And when he found out, he immediately wanted to do exactly what we did the last time. Let's fix this. Let's go to counseling. Let's do this. He understood.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not think that that was okay. I said, the fact that I even wanted to do this to you makes me feel so much shame.
Right.
And not only that, now I know someone else could be interested in me. And so I just started thinking, well, man, we just got together too young.
Yeah.
We didn't even know what adulting looked like and parenting. And I never should have said yes to getting married to you. I just started telling myself all these
All the
lies
lies. Yeah, for sure.
that meant we don't need to be together. So I said, you know what? We should at least separate.
Yeah.
If anything else, we should just take some time apart because I don't want to be the type of person who wants to get revenge on my husband.
Right.
I don't want to, I'm fiercely loyal.
Yeah.
Normally, that's my personality. I don't like the version of myself that wants to have an affair and not be loyal to my husband.
Yeah.
And so the best thing for me at the time was let me go be single. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to figure this out. Let me go do all these things. And that was not what he wanted.
Right.
But that's what we did.
What you did. And you were a single mom.
I was.
Yeah. How did that feel?
It was a lot more difficult
I'm
than I
sure.
thought. So when I said I wanted to separate, I just meant I wanted to separate. I didn't necessarily mean we should get divorced.
Yeah.
Like, let's see how we feel separated. Let's give this a trial run.
Right.
But he wanted to call my bluff. This is what I'm calling it now.
Yeah, sure.
I said, he's calling my bluff. So he showed up 11 days after he found out about the affair with divorce papers.
Dang.
Now, he did give me an ultimatum. If you agree to go to counseling right now, work on this, I'll rip these up.
Yeah.
And I said, absolutely not. We're supposed to be taking a separation.
Right.
11 days is nothing.
Nobody said the big D word. Like
Right.
I said divorce.
So if you were filing for divorce, let me sign those.
Yeah.
And so I did. Calling his bluff right back.
Literally. Woo!
And before you know it, we probably had the fastest divorce you've ever seen in the state of Texas because it was from the time we separated till the time the divorce was final was 71 days.
Wow. Yeah.
So
that's crazy. That's super fast. So what did that look like for you as a single mom? Financially, you were having to do all of it, figure all that out. What was like the hardest adjustment?
Oh my goodness. So luckily at that time, I don't want to say that this is what the Lord wanted, but I did, even though I was not walking with Jesus at the time, obviously, right? I had started teaching preschool in like 2017, I think. So part-time, just so that both of my younger two could attend the private preschool. And so I was getting a discount. So I was teaching 3-year-olds and that was only 2 days a week.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. And so that's the only income that I had on my own, which was
very little.
Literally nothing. I think I was making like $12 an hour, 2 days a week for 6 hours a day. There was like no money there. However, randomly, a friend from our church had this like work from home job that she was going to no longer be doing because she was taking on something full time. And she said, "Hey, I just thought of you. Would you be interested in taking this over?" It was working for a psychiatrist or psychologist, doing his scheduling for psychological evaluations of kids in the foster care system. And I said, sure.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, 25 or 30 hours a week part-time.
Oh, that's great.
As well. So combined those two, it still was very little, but still it was an option. Right. And so I did that. And until the divorce was actually finalized, we were taking turns in the home. Gary told me very early on, I'm not going to be a part-time dad. I'm not going to be a weekend dad. We've got to do 50-50. And I was on board with that because I'm never going to take my kids away from him. That was just never something I was willing to do. And so we alternated being at the house. I'd spend a week at the house with the kids. And then instead of making them leave, he'd come and spend a week with them at the house. And we did that until we were able to actually sell the house after our divorce. We had to wait till the divorce was final. And so that was January 2019. And so then I had to find somewhere to live. And it was probably, granted, I've lost my mom since, so I do say that's the most difficult season of my life, but that was more difficult than I could have imagined.
Yeah.
Because I had to pretend like I was fine.
Sure.
I had to pretend for my kids. I had to pretend for him
that I was just okay. I couldn't swallow my pride and act like I actually needed help.
I can still have it together without you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so while I was trying to navigate getting my own house and these kids and rooms and furniture and all this stuff, it was so hard. I wasn't going to church. I lost all of my community because they were all from
Yeah.
church. And I just didn't have any support.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I'm sure there are times where you probably generally felt like, I don't know how I'm going to survive this.
100
But you definitely weren't going to let anybody else know that.
because I forgot to mention that this was the same time, the fall of 2018, that my parents decided to move.
Yeah.
So they used to live locally here and they moved 3.5 hours away out in the country near Texarkana.
Yeah.
So that my mom could be close to her sister. And so I literally had nobody.
You had no support at all.
Nothing.
And how old were the kids at this point?
Daxton was 3, I think 3 going on 4. And then Nyla Faith was 7. Oh, 8. 8, somewhere around it.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I know.
They were still young.
They're still really young though.
Yes.
But a 3-year-old, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Like being alone with
He
with
was,
that.
yeah, he was only in preschool.
Yeah.
And Ty was still in high school. Kason was in intermediate school.
Yeah.
Now Faith was in kindergarten.
Yeah. So they're all pretty young.
All pretty young, 4 different schools.
It's a lot.
Doing it all by myself. I didn't have anybody.
Right.
He had family here. He had his brother, he had his mom, he had his uncle. He had all kinds of help. He had so many people in his corner.
Yeah.
I had nobody.
I'm sure there had a lot of bitterness to be caused.
Oh, I was so.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Do you feel like during that time that your relationship with Christ, with God, became further or closer?
At first, further,
Yeah.
because I wasn't pursuing it.
Right.
At first, I was just surviving, living what I thought was my best life, doing whatever I wanted to do. I call that my wild and out season. And every other week, I didn't have my kids, and every other week, I got to do whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Oops, dropped my headphones. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
I did whatever I wanted to do. I had one friend, and that's who I would hang out with all the time. And I barely survived.
Yeah.
I spent many evenings home alone that when I didn't have my kids, lonely, crying,
Sure.
not knowing what the future held. Would I ever find anybody again? Was I going to be by myself the rest of my life? How was I going to do this?
Yeah. What do you think that people misunderstand about divorce and single motherhood? Now that you've been through that.
I think that a lot of times people misunderstand that being a single mom, even if the other parent is involved, doesn't mean that you aren't doing everything by yourself.
Yeah.
Because there were so many times I heard, well, at least he's involved. At least every other week you get to be alone, right, or whatever. Well, I don't want to be alone.
Right.
I would rather have my kids
Right.
every day,
Yeah.
but I have to share them now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's involved, but I'm still doing my part by myself.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so I think that there's a huge misconception that if you are co-parenting or if you have a situation where the other parent's involved, that you're not still living the single parent life.
Yeah. But you truly are. Not only that, but you're wondering, like, what do they do when they're over there?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like that mama bear would come out, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know what they're doing with me, but I don't necessarily know what they're doing there.
Mm-hmm.
And that can bring up probably a lot of anxiety.
Oh, it did. And a lot of, at first, a lot of resentment and conflict between the two of us. Because if I found out that the kids were over there and he was in home.
Right. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Or he was going out or he was whatever, I was crashing out.
Yeah.
How is it your week and you're doing this?
Yeah. I was just leaving home.
Right. We just let me keep them.
Right.
And so there was a lot of conflict with that at the beginning for sure.
Yeah. So fast forward a little bit more. You guys are doing this sharing thing. But then how did you kind of start coming into that story of reconciliation? I know that you started going to church.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude brought you. What that looked like?
So at first, I do want to say that at the beginning, there was a lot of conflict. Not that we were fighting or arguing with each other, but there was a lot of those feelings, like I just said. But then it got to a point where we were both willing to put the kids first.
Yeah.
So birthdays, holidays, all those things, we tried to make sure that we could be together around
Right.
each other so that the kids could have what they always need to be.
Yeah.
And so we got along for that perfectly fine.
Right.
In 20, oh, I had actually lost my job as with the psychologist.
Okay.
He could no longer afford to pay me.
Yeah.
And so I was having to stop teaching preschool. I had to find something full time.
Yeah.
And this was fall 2019? Nope, spring 2019. And I had a friend who had gotten into home and auto insurance, and she said, "Hey, we're looking to hire someone. They'll pay for you to get licensed. Will you be, are you willing to do this?"
Right.
So I said, "Sure."
Yeah.
And so I started working at this insurance office in the fall of 2019 and got my insurance license, was doing commercial insurance. I felt like I was finally getting things
Yeah.
on track
Yeah.
and felt like a real grown up. And
Yeah.
uh, things were going good. She was the same friend who had been inviting me to Life Church. And so at first, I kept telling her no.
Yeah.
And before I got the job with her, I finally said yes. I said, "Okay, after 8 months of telling you no, because I'm from a Church of Christ and we don't do music instruments, we do a
Right.
cappella and we don't do fake and all the things that I thought church would be.
Right.
I'll go because you said my kids are going to like that the lobby looks like a movie scene or something."
Yes.
And so I went, and that is literally the moment that I think everything started to change for me.
Yeah. Sure.
I found a renewed relationship with Christ. Not that I ever got rid of it, but he's been here all along. I was able to see, oh, you planned all of these things to fall into place for me at the exact right time so that I wasn't alone.
Right.
And no matter how far I was from you, all the decisions I was making, the way I wasn't living a life worthy of him,
Yeah.
I still saw him there.
Yeah.
And so I'm attending our church and I start serving in the church and I'm getting new community in the church. And I'm just what I would say really living my best life.
Yeah.
Even though I'm still a single mom, I feel strong and happy and hopeful.
Yeah.
For the future for the first time. And so fast forward to that was in the fall of 2019. Like I said, fast forward to January 2020. I lost my job at that insurance office because of the person I was working for had a lack of integrity, and I wasn't willing to submit to that lack of integrity.
Right.
She wasn't happy about it.
Yeah.
So she said, "Well, pack up your desk and get out of here."
Mm.
I said, "Okay, cool." So I had a mini crash out for like a few weeks.
Yeah.
I was still going to church, but it was still hard.
Sure.
And then COVID happened.
Yeah. And all the world fell apart.
And so even though it sucked losing my job, I got to spend every second with my kids because he was still working and I got to keep them with me. And I got to spend all this time with them. And I had a community now, right? From church.
Yeah.
And so even though it sucked in the moment, even though I was complaining about staying at the house all the time, I was still very much enjoying life.
Yeah.
We were filming TikToks together and just having a good old time. And they talked to Gary every day, but we didn't see him for weeks at a time because we thought, COVID, you're going to work. You're being around people.
So we can't be around us.
We're safe. We're, secluded over here. And so we just did our own thing for several months.
I look back at that and I'm wondering if you would have even, because you had started sitting church, because the Lord had been working in your life, if you would have even said no to the integrity issue, if God hadn't have got you into church before.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's just like another little like God moment on your timeline.
Yeah.
That he set you up for.
Right.
You started going to church, you started learning who God was, what integrity even was, right? And you had your people in your court for the situation to happen to where you could say, no, like, I'm not going to do this or that. When before you might have just been like, whatever, I'm working for it.
Whatever, I need this job, I need,
keep
making money, whatever. But
I always like to just see those little like sometimes they're hard for us to see those little parts of our story where maybe we don't even see it, but it's like so there,
Yeah.
you know?
I was not happy. I was angry that our job over that. And I think maybe there was a little bit of anger at God for it too, because I was thinking to myself, I need this.
Yeah.
This was a blessing for me.
Yeah.
How are you taking it away so soon?
Sure.
It's only been 6 months.
Yeah.
And so, but then hindsight's 2020, because then COVID happened. And had I been working, I wouldn't have been able to stay
Yeah.
out with my kids. Exactly. They would have still had to been going back and forth during one of the most difficult times in our country.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the Lord 100% provided, because my rent never went unpaid. My bills never went unpaid. I don't even know how.
Yeah.
My money just stretched.
Yeah. I love that.
It's wild. People just showed up. Blessings just came. I mean, I remember waking up one morning, going to make a cup of coffee, and someone from church was mowing my lawn.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And I'm just, how do I deserve this?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then, yeah. So if we want to fast forward to,
Yeah, I was going to say, did you ever imagine that there could be restoration with you and Gary?
no.
Yeah.
People asked me that all the time because they would see how well we got along.
Yeah.
And I said, absolutely not. I'm never
Yeah.
going back to him. I will never do that, because you know why? I'm not putting up with that.
Right.
I've seen what he's been doing while we've not been together.
Mhm.
He's not living a good life. He's, whatever that looks like.
Yes. Whatever that looks like.
And so I just, no, absolutely not.
Yeah. So what happened from there? Like, walk us through kind of, it was still COVID, kind of coming out of COVID. What happened?
Well, COVID was long. So,
So long.
I think everything shut down, spring break 2020,
Mhm.
even churches.
Yep.
And so I think it was August. Was it August? Or maybe a little before August, maybe July, when our church, the church that we were going to, reopened.
Yeah.
And it was way before any other church. And so me and the kids started attending again. And at that point, we kind of realized, or I kind of realized, maybe this isn't as crazy as everything. So I started being like, I'm going to go to the store, and we can, he can come over and see the kids, and
Yeah. Yeah.
all these things. And so at some point we were back in church, attending church, serving in the church. And the kids just started telling him, you're not going to church at your church, Dad. Why don't you just come with us?
Mhm.
And he was like, that's kind of strange.
Yeah.
And because we had a decent enough relationship at the time, I was like, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Why not? Come see what it is. I think you'd like it.
Right.
Just thinking that it would be good for him.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
a person.
Yeah.
And
Can't hurt. That's for
Right.
sure.
next thing you know, he shows up. And
Crazy.
it was probably the second or third time he came where that thought entered my mind, that this could be a thing. Because here I am at church with my ex-husband, and nobody's batting an eye.
Mhm.
People are welcoming him and treating him like they don't even know that we're divorced. In a sense, like they knew we were divorced, but they weren't choosing sides.
Right.
And so he just was able to build relationships too very quickly. He's very friendly. Like, he can make friends very easily. Everybody loves him.
Yeah.
And so he just was talking to everybody, and he didn't let it be awkward. And he wasn't 100% bought in. He was mostly attending for the kids and probably for me, because I
Sure.
wanted him to, because I didn't know at the time that he wanted
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The whole time we were apart, he was hopeful for us to get back together.
Yeah.
And he wasn't saying that to me, of course, or to anyone. He was still doing his own thing. But I think in some parts, he probably imagined coming to church for the kids would result somehow in me finding a soft spot.
Sure.
For that.
Yeah. Yeah. How long and how did you guys, were you able to build that trust back up?
It didn't take long.
Yeah.
At all. Because I think once I saw that he was willing again to put in the work to grow, he was willing to build those relationships with some of the most trusted people in my life at the time, the pastors on the team, the people that I was serving with. It started to become more apparent to me. And I think this is where the Lord really stepped in, because he softened my heart to the idea that, oh, wow, look, we could do this.
Mhm.
And then it started becoming my idea.
Mm.
And it was me asking, do we think that this would be something that could happen?
Yeah.
And so church opening, I mean, June, July, August, September, October, 4 months.
Yeah.
4 months of him attending church. Did we have that conversation?
Yeah.
Of can we try again?
Yeah.
Could we date each other?
Right.
Could we make this work?
Right.
And so, yeah.
That's crazy. What do you think that, I love this question, and y'all went to counseling before all the things, but what is something that God had to do that counseling couldn't do or didn't do?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think he changed our hearts
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Yeah.
Because even before, when we were married after his affair, I would say that even though I'd forgiven him,
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't forgotten it.
Yeah.
And there was always questions in my mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when we fully decided to try again and my heart was changed, I was willing to just blindly trust him again as if we had just
Met.
yeah, just gotten together. And not that it was always easy, because
Sure.
the enemy is sneaky.
Yes.
There was just this point where we got to our relationship, or, being back together, where it was like, I don't know how, but that's not even a thought.
Yeah.
And I want to do whatever I can to make sure that that's not even a thought for you.
Right.
Because now we're both guilty of this betrayal.
Yes.
And so I'm willing to do anything
Yes.
that you need me to do so that you never have to question if I'm in this 100%.
Right. Just like he had to do for you, the early stages.
Right. And that's only the Lord, because
literally.
I'm stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm opinionated, and I'm strong-willed, and all of these things. And somehow the Lord just changed that about me when it came to him.
Yeah. That's really good. How did the kids do when you guys were talking about like getting back together and all the different things? Like,
Well, we didn't tell them at first.
sure.
So they would see us together at church, but they didn't, other than our oldest, she knew, right? But we would just be around each other as a whole unit, but not like together.
They did. Yeah. They kind of got used to being together as a unit.
Right.
Like,
so we were still living in two
Right.
separate households.
Right.
They were still going back and forth every other week. But then I would spend time at his house while he had them, and he would spend time at my house while I had them, when we could make that work.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of slowly did that before finally getting to the point where it's like, this is it. We're actually doing it.
Yeah.
We're just going to jump all in, move back in together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remarry, all those things.
So what would you say to someone that thinks a marriage is just too broken?
First of all, if you are a follower of Christ, and if you both love the Lord, there's no such thing as too broken. God can heal anything. God can fix anything. God can change anyone's heart. God can change anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even the worst things can be redeemed. So don't ever think that anything's too far gone. However, the most important part is that God's got to be at the center.
Absolutely.
And that was the very thing that we had a conversation about.
Yeah.
I knew that. And so when we had the conversation about getting back together, I said, here are the things that have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more lukewarm Christian.
Yeah.
We're not just going to church on Sunday like we used to and acting like that's good enough.
Right.
We're putting Christ at the center of our marriage. We're putting Christ at the center of our family. We're all in. We're serving in the church. We are attending church. We're joining life groups. We're doing all of these things. And if it's going to work, that's the only way it's going to work.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when we put those things in and we do that work, then the Lord shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just cool to see how that works.
I love your story. I love that God can use something that's so hard and so hurtful. But you've used that story so many times to help so many people.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
It's my favorite part. I mean, I would never have chosen to
Yeah.
go through this. I don't think anybody would ever choose the trials that we
Absolutely
experience.
not.
But I do love that I get to help others now with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing your story.
Sure.
I know sometimes it's not easy, but you do such a great job. And then it's really helpful, I think, to many people that are listening or watching.
I hope so. I mean, I don't even know that it's easy for anyone to admit their own
Yeah.
fault in a
Mhm.
situation, no matter how far removed you are from it. So I don't like putting out there publicly that, oh,
Sure.
I had an affair. My husband had an affair. But I think it's powerful to be able to share that, to show where we've come from,
Mhm.
how we got here, and then be able to help others.
Yep.
I hate that my kids can listen to this and know that and know our story, but what they'll ultimately get to see from that is that we still chose each other,
Right.
and that God was able to heal what,
Yeah.
seems unfixable.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, as your week went on, where did God show up in it?
I'd say the Lord showed up yesterday for me. We went to all staff, which was always a fun time, watching our campus pastor share a story from our
Mhm.
campus. And I think I just was sitting there remembering other all staff that
Yeah.
I've been a part of, and maybe when it was a more difficult season on the team, and just how pushing through and staying strong during that time
Yeah.
got me to where I am
Yeah.
today, and getting to enjoy the team that we have now and the relationship that I get to have with my leader that I've never got to experience before, the trust and
Mhm.
just knowing that no matter what, he's got my back
Yep.
and so do the rest of my team.
Mhm.
That's just a really good feeling because in ministry, in anything, I think honestly, you can start to feel insecure
Yeah,
about
for
yourself,
sure.
about certain things, and that the enemy likes to use my insecurities against me sometimes. And not that it was overwhelming, but just a little reminder that how far I've come is something that I can be proud of.
Yeah.
Not just in myself, but with our team, with our
Mhm.
campus pastor, that I didn't give up. I kept pushing through, and this is still where I'm called.
Yeah. So good. I love that.
Yeah. What about you?
I definitely felt that yesterday too, just to be on a team that has gone from where it was to where it is now. It's like so cool. It's just such a cool feeling.
Mhm.
But I think I got to really see God show up with my daughter Ella. We've been talking about um volleyball and whether she's gonna do club or not. And we talked about that even on here before. And I finally just had to really relinquish control of that and just literally just pray, God, I need it's just you gotta get for her. Um and it's gotta be her decision. Her dad was asking if she wanted to go to tryout. And she said, actually, I don't think I'm gonna try out anywhere because I'm going to 10th grade. The workload's gonna be heavy, which that's very, very, very important to her, her academics. But she also said, I really want to be able to get more involved um with my friends and stuff on the weekends, but I want to be more involved with church.
Yeah.
And that was just such a big deal to me, to my mom heart, especially just to see that she's made that decision on her own. Because that's 100% the Holy Spirit.
100%.
And so it just makes me realize that like God's like, I got you.
Yeah.
Like, even when you want to try to control everything, I got you. Especially with our kids, right? We have to, there's a time where we just have to relinquish that control, especially as they get older, I feel like, because this can't be a me decision. It has to be a her decision. So really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I love all this. But
Me too.
thanks for hanging out with us on Called to Chaos.
Made you laugh.
Or made you feel a little less alone.
Share it with a friend who's also living in the chaos.
We will talk to you next time. Bye, friends.